This is Selena Yvette, host of Stories from Planet Earth. Thanks for listening to the following show on Public House Media.
Thanks for tuning in to Beauties and Headcanons, where we're nerdy, and you probably are too. I'm Tegan, and today I actually have a special guest host today here, Twyla. She is a coworker of Lindsay's, and she wanted to come in and guest host with me today. So, Twyla, how are you today?
I'm great, Tegan. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's been so hot here lately, so I'm pretty much just burning up here in my living room.
Oh, where are you at?
I'm in North Carolina, so it is, I've been 80s, 90s, that kind of thing lately.
Oh, that's too hot for me.
Yeah. I do miss Wisconsin for the winters. It was nice, but it's quite, the mild winters are the trade-off to the hot summers lately.
That is true.
All right.
My name's Twyla, and as Tegan said, I work with Lindsay, and I wanted to come and see what Lindsay does on our half-hour, 45-minute break. So this is quite fun for me. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm just going to roll with the punches and see how this goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we do our episodes, too. We don't usually plan them out a whole lot. I mean, we have our topic, usually, and we do a little research here and there, but we usually just sort of talk it out, and just, it's kind of like a live discussion, more or less. So, normally I reserve my gaming corner for a little bit later in the episode if I'm introing, but I wanted to kind of use it now because, this is kind of what gave me the whole idea for this episode. I don't know if you're familiar with Mortal Kombat, but...
Oh my gosh, of course I am.
But, you know, there's the whole Chosen One aesthetic that goes along with Liu Kang and him, you know, being the champion and everything like that. And I don't know if you've played the most recent game, but we just had the DLC release for Aftermath, and I have played through that. And I gotta say, like, I was playing through the whole thing, and I was kind of surprised that at the end, spoilers, obviously, for everybody who hasn't played this yet, but at the end, almost similar to Injustice 2, they give you a choice as to who to side with, and that affects the very, like, end of that DLC storyline. So obviously, you know, if you choose Liu Kang, you know, you get that ending where he goes back and, you know, you get to meet the original Kung Lao, and, you know, he apparently is going to choose Kung Lao as his champion since he's Fire God Liu Kang. But if you go with Shang Tsung, you know, he's obviously, you know, taking over everything. Raiden and Fujin are acting as his, like, agents. And I gotta say, like, I went with Shang Tsung in his ending because this is why. Like, I know Liu Kang is supposed to be this whole chosen one, this special character, but it's never really been expressed how and why he's special or why he's the chosen one. Like, I guess Raiden said he is, and that's it. But, I mean, if you look at the whole situation there, okay, he's Fire God Liu Kang, which is like the fusion of past Liu Kang, the Revenant Liu Kang, and Raiden, which, cool, yeah, obviously, very powerful. But then you have Shang Tsung, who just absorbed Raiden and Fujin, who are two gods. He absorbed Shao Kahn and Sindel, who are very powerful Outworlders, and he absorbed Kronika, who is a Titan, who Kronika had absorbed Cetrion, who is an Elder God, so I guess that means he gets both of them in some sort of thing. So it's like, okay, stacking all of that up. Plus he has this special soul-powered crown. The odds don't really seem in Liu Kang's favor. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem logical to me. There's no other explanation as to how Liu Kang could beat this other than, oh, but he's the chosen one, so he just does. And, I'm not a fan of lazy writing and just doing things, just because, I like to have a little explanation. So for my, official ending with the playthrough, I went with Shang Tsung. I'm not disappointed. I'm not mad at all. I love his ending. So I'm not sure how they're going to segue that in Mortal Kombat 11, if there's going to be a Mortal Kombat 12, if there's going to be one. But yeah, I think that would be really interesting to see if they accommodate that quote-unquote bad ending.
I agree with you. I have the 11 Aftermath, but unlike you, I can never get to the end because I just started playing on my PS4, and I just got a headset. So I get on the headset, and I'm talking with these people, and I join online, and this guy goes, yeah, you don't play much, do you? And I was like, no, I don't. I got one hit in, maybe two, and the match was over with.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't gotten to the end yet, but maybe eventually.
Well, and that's why I personally don't like to play online a whole lot, because it's like, I deal enough with people. I want to play by myself.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I play. I play to relax. I don't play to, just, have somebody who's just so experienced and has all this time and energy that they can put into the game come in against me. Because it's like, yeah, obviously they're going to win. I'm not going to dispute that at all. But yeah, story mode is great. I loved it. I love, because you get to play as, in Aftermath, you get to play as Nightwolf and Fujin, and Sindel was actually okay. I actually did pretty well with her. And you can do Shao Kahn too if you choose, because it gives you several points where you can choose which character to fight with, which is pretty interesting. I know they did that earlier in the story mode, and they did that in Injustice 2 as well, where you could kind of choose, who you want to fight with out of two choices. So yeah, but yeah, that was my whole beef with, with Chosen Ones, because, okay, I'm the kind of person, I'm a writer, and I don't mind tropes. Tropes are cool. Tropes are fun. Tropes can be done really, really well. But I think some writers and some people kind of rely on these tropes a little too much. And I think it's when you rely on them too much to tell your story instead of worrying about telling a good story that they can kind of fall apart. Because it's like, you look at, okay, you have a powerful sorcerer, you have this, powerful, strong Khan, and you have, all of these, mystical, characters, and then, you have a random guy who knows martial arts. Oh, and he can, do fire and a bicycle kick, and that's it. It's like, but how is he chosen? There is seemingly no rhyme or reason as to how he is chosen. And it's like, okay, if you're going to have a chosen one, we need to operate under a little bit of logic. What do they know? What skills do they have that can defeat this, great evil that they're up against? So that was kind of that was kind of what gave me the idea to have this episode, because obviously there are fandoms and there are stories where they tell this really well, and then there are ones that don't tell it so well. So I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit of both, because I don't like to just, totally go off and be like, oh, this is just terrible. This is all terrible. It's all bad. There's nothing good about it.
So do you have other things that do give a good story?
Yeah, I mean, probably one of my favorite storylines that kind of follow this whole chosen one is Lord of the Rings, where Frodo and Bilbo both are chosen ones. And it's kind of like a more, they found their own fate and they made that decision to hold to that destiny. But yeah, they're still a chosen one, more or less. So that, I think, is a great example, because, you have these characters who, they are not perfect, they are infallible, they have weaknesses, and, they are capable of completing a task, but I mean, really, they still need help completing this task. It's not just them completing it, they have help in order to do that. I think that's really important to acknowledge, that, it's not just a me kind of thing. It's a teamwork that helps solve problems.
Well, right. That's definitely, it helps with the whole storyline and them being the chosen one. So, yeah, Lord of the Rings is actually a good example.
So were there any specific ones from your fandoms that, like, have kind of followed that chosen one trope?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yes.
The old school, though.
Yes, yes. Well, we don't talk about the Michael Bay things here. We don't do that. So, yeah, like, the old school ones, the old comics, the TV series and everything, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the whole storyline with Shredder, and it's just, I've always loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and there was always a backstory to whatever they were doing, and it was very well explained. I always liked reading or watching or looking just at the whole dynamics of them. Even as I was a little kid, I remember being maybe 4 years old, and my mom asked me what I wanted to be for Halloween, and I said, Donatello! So that's what I was. I was Donatello.
Donatello's a great choice. I mean, and again, like, it comes in where it's about a teamwork dynamic where they all work together for this goal, even though, like, one may have shouldered more responsibility, they all still need each other. And, with I think, like, especially the older cartoons, the comics, and even, like, the first 2 live-action movies, it really kind of emphasized that, where each turtle was unique, they had their own thing. Some may have more responsibility than others, but they still need to come together and work together because they're greater than the sum of their parts.
Who was your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Probably Raphael. just because he kind of reminds me a lot of my husband, where he's kind of rough around the edges and aggressive, but, he's all about getting things done. And, I can respect that, I think.
There you go. Yeah, Raphael, Michelangelo.
I think if we were talking about purely, like, which character you're most like, I'm probably most like Michelangelo, where I'm just kind of goofy, I want pizza, and I'm just kind of chill.
Oh, man. I would probably have to be Leonardo.
Or you take on the leadership and...
No, not really. I'm just, I don't know. I like swords.
Hey, also very valid choice.
Yeah. I feel like I work well with a team, but who the hell knows? You'll have to ask Lindsay.
I don't know if we're going to get much of an answer for that. I did also kind of want to mention that, with this whole chosen one trope, when you go in to write, it's not always necessarily something that you have to hold to 100%. You can kind of, like, bucket a little bit and make it your own. You don't have to stick to some concept 100%, obviously. And I know that seems like, oh, duh, but it's, something I think some writers struggle with. It's like, okay, I'm writing this type of story, so it has to be like this, If you look at something like Willow, it definitely has, like, a chosen one vibe to it, but because, you have this little baby that's, like, prophesied to, like, bring about the end of this, tyrant's rule, but, it's not, it turns out that it's not the baby herself, that physically does it. It's everybody around her that's working to protect her, that works to defeat the evil around them. And that's how it happens. It's not the little baby that grows up and, defeats them. It's everybody else around her finding that rallying point and coming together to, defeat that evil. So it's, I always do love, kind of seeing where, certain creators and certain writers take it in a little bit different direction. I hate to use the term subverting expectations because I I am so burnt out on that term. But, you know, if done well, subverting expectations can be a really great tool to have to kind of just change things up. You know, I know that they say, you know, there's nothing new under the sun, but, you know, in a real sense, you know, there's so many different ways you can tell a story. You don't have to stick to these pre-prescribed, you know, notions of, oh, well, this is a chosen one, and this is, you know, so we got to write about this and that. No, there's some, I don't know, prophecy or something that dictates that this person has to do this thing, or, you know, that's kind of why I come to this with this whole trope with, okay, well, if you have a chosen one, you need to give me a little bit more than, okay, well, this person says that they're chosen, you know, or this prophecy says that they're chosen. You know, what do they do? What do they bring to the table that, you know, basically earns them the right of that title, of that chosen one title?
Right. You just can't go, oh, Lindsay, you're president of the United States. And you have no clue how she became the president of the United States.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe I look to have things justified in my art a little bit more, but I find it's just, I can suspend my disbelief only for so much. You know, I want more reasons for things. I want something to be more well thought out. For instance, I kind of do like, even though I do not like Jo Rowling, I like how she did present Harry Potter, especially in relation to Neville Longbottom, because, you know, with this whole prophecy that Sybil Trelawney gave, it could have applied to either Harry or Neville. But one of the key parts about the prophecy is that Voldemort would mark that chosen one. And so Voldemort chose to go after Harry. In choosing Harry, he chose that person who is going to end up overthrowing him. And, you know, I mean, Harry, obviously he grows up and he contributes a lot to overthrowing Voldemort. And, you know, and so does Neville, too. I mean, honestly, you know, you can make the argument that Neville would have been just as good a chosen one, and I think he would have been, but it's all down to who was actually chosen for that. And when Voldemort chose, okay, this is going to be who I'm going to go after, he unwittingly chose his rival. So it's kind of part mystical prophecy, but also part, you know, actively choosing and going along with that drives that whole trope forward in Harry Potter.
Right. Well, I believe it's the author or writer or creator. It's their responsibility to make it interesting and to have a storyline or to go outside of the box a little bit. And when you stay inside the box, that's when you're not going to get anything substantial like Lord of the Rings, because they went outside of the box.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, you could also argue that Aragorn is also a chosen one, and he is in, you know, sort of a sense. But I mean, obviously into defeating the main evil, you know, Frodo is usually looked at as the chosen one, but
yeah.
Even so, I mean, he has a lot of help, and he relies so heavily on Sam. You know, Sam is the one who propels this chosen one forward, even though he's not the one that ultimately, you know, causes the ring to be tossed into the volcano. He's still the one that facilitates that for the most part. So, you know, I kind of like that, where one character, even if they are chosen, they aren't the complete focal point for every single thing. Because especially if they're not a character I'm particularly sold on, it gets really, really old. Like, I mean, if you couldn't tell, I'm not really the hugest fan of Liu Kang. So, you know, constantly seeing him pulled up as this chosen one, I'm like, okay, this is getting really old. Let's do something else, please. But, you know, no, he's the chosen one, so I have to kind of just put up with it.
Well, hopefully when 12 comes out, it'll be a better storyline.
Oh, I hope so. Although, I mean, with everything that they left off with, will they come out with a 12? That's kind of...
Yeah. That's a good question.
I mean, I feel like with the way they let off, and I heard that they aren't... that there's some stuff that NetherRealm is involved in that are potentially up for sale. If something happens with those properties, if NetherRealm gets sold off, if, something happens with the whole Mortal Kombat franchise, I mean, who knows? They might end up not being able to even make a 12. That's
true. Well, they've made 11 so far, so why not 12, 13, 14, 18, 14?
I'd love to. But I know that, because I had heard fairly recently that Activision and EA specifically are, talking about buying Mortal Kombat.
Really?
And, yeah. So, because Rocksteady, who did the Arkham series and NetherRealm, is apparently up for sale. So, I mean, obviously you buy NetherRealm, you're going to buy the Mortal Kombat franchise. So, I'm not really sure I'm comfortable with either EA or Activision having their fingers in that pie, but,
yeah.
But, I mean...
If EA dips their fingers in that, all the Mortal Kombat people could be playing basketball.
that's about the only thing that they're making money on these days.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, I don't know. If they get, they do support BioWare, so hopefully that, indicates that they would let NetherRealm do their own thing so that they could do a Mortal Kombat 12. I'd love to see a Mortal Kombat 12. I'm not sure if they would work on that first or Injustice 3, if they were doing Injustice 3. I mean, I know, each of one of these games, it seems like you could potentially end the game or the storyline with this game. But then they still have this question of, oh no, that it could come back. I do kind of like that they do that, so it's not like a total, a sequel bait, where it's like, oh, we've just totally baited you for a sequel, but now, oh, is it going to happen, And I don't like that. I don't like sequel baiting, especially, if it's not a sure thing. But, who knows? I mean, I would really hope to see these characters again. There's a lot of characters from Mortal Kombat that they didn't put in Mortal Kombat 11 that I really wanted to see, like Rain. I really wanted to see Rain come back. But they focused their vision on a lot, on a lot different characters, on the Cages, on the Shaolin, some of the ninjas, and some of the Outworlder characters. So, it's all, I think, what they choose to focus on, and I mean, thankfully, their focus turned out pretty well, except for the whole Chosen One thing that they're still trying to force through with Liu Kang. I mean, I'm sorry, if you get a chance to reset this timeline, can't we just do it completely differently? Why do we have to keep up with this Chosen One shtick? I don't get it. I don't get it. Sorry.
It's okay. Take a deep breath.
But yeah, I mean, this is why, when Chosen One tropes don't go so well, it kind of just becomes more annoying than anything else, especially to people who aren't particular fans of your Chosen One, And I mean, obviously not everybody is going to be fans of every single character, I have friends who like characters that I don't like. I like characters that other people don't like. We're all going to like different characters, which is why it's so important to diversify and to, bring up, a variety that different people can like and identify with. Even if you're going to have a Chosen One, you can still have the support system be characters that other people like instead. And they can also do important, cool things. And, they aren't just completely overshadowed by this.
Well, you know what I think your new life mission is?
What?
Mortal Kombat 12 by
Yes.
Tegan.
Yes, I will make it. Yes, I feel like Hawk now in Act 1. So we're going to get up this 50 sovereigns, and then we're going to go on this Deep Roads expedition, right? So now I'm just going to get up, however much money I need, I'm just going to buy another realm. Going to crowdfund it. There we go.
There you go. Go fund me.
Yes, I'll do a GoFundMe. Link in bio. No, not really. Not really. Obviously, since we just met, I don't know every, little fandom or anything that you're into. Are you in any other fandoms that kind of hold to that aesthetic, or do your fandoms just kind of nah, we're not going to go with that trope?
They come and go. Yeah. Honestly, I can't really speak upon it right now because my brain is focused on work. I wasn't expecting to get thrown into this little hoteling room with this laptop, but I was like, hey, I'll take my lunch and do this, sure. So maybe we can do a part 2 and I can think about it.
Yes. Definitely a part 2.
Definitely speak about it, and I can get more into the conversation.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that Lindsay and I we do shows every other week, and we take our off week to kind of just recharge and everything, and that kind of helps us to kind of think up different subjects, different things that we want to do, and so that's kind of how I kind of came up with this chosen one. I actually came up with it during one of our breaks when I was playing through Aftermath.
Well, it's an awesome storyline.
Oh, yeah.
It's an awesome topic, but I didn't really have time to think or prepare, and now I have to go back and sit in a cubicle office space.
I know. I feel that pain so much. I used... Back when I used to work in cubicles and offices, it was all just oh, no.
Yeah.
You just get into that frame of mind. Yeah,
it's fun. I like the people I work with, especially Lindsay.
Gotta hype that up there, right?
Hi, Lindsay.
All right. Well, that's all that we have for you for this week. Be sure to check out our social media sites. We're on Instagram and we're on, Instagram and Twitter under Beauties_Canons. We're on Facebook under Beauties and Headcanons by Public House Media. And on Tumblr, we're Beauties and Headcanons. So make sure you check us out there. I'm posting throughout the week. Like I said, a bare minimum of at least 3 posts a week that I put out there. So make sure you check us out, give us a like, give us a review and rating on whichever platform you happen to hear this podcast on. And there we go. I'm Tegan, and thanks for getting nerdy with us this week on Beauties and Headcanons.